Peres and Arafat has been canceled. And these pictures live from Rabin Square in Tel Aviv. Here around the country this Saturday, there is an attempt, I guess, to get life back to normal. It hadn't been a very normal week, not simply here in New York, certainly, but around the country. All the sporting events, Major League Baseball, football, all canceled. Some college football games are being played. But in places like Des Moines, Iowa, and others, the kids are playing soccer, and families are out there with their kids, and Jeff Flock is out there as well to give a sense of how those of us, those outside of New York, are handling the weekend. Jeff, good afternoon.
Indeed, Aaron, it is a reminder that for most of this country, life does go on, and in some sense this is a return to life. This is a soccer tournament here in Des Moines. As we said, this is where our travels take us today. I want to tap this young lady on the shoulder. Your daughter's out there playing. Is this a good thing to try to get back to this? I know the pro games are all canceled.
Yeah, I think the kids need to show a little bit of normalcy, and it gets their minds off things for a moment.
Where's your mind right at this moment?
At this game and with all the Americans in New York.
What's the next step for this nation?
I believe we're going to war.
You ready for that?
We take the right steps and get our ducks in a row. I'm ready.
I hear that. I want to sample that same sort of sentiment out here. This young lady we were talking to just said, we're going to war. She's pretty confident. What do you think?
Well, I think there's going to be some degree of conflict and pursuit of the people that did the terrorist act, but I don't know. It's difficult to say what kind of war it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. No. Sure, yeah. I want to bring this young lady in. Also, we got stock market opening again on Monday. You worried about the future of this nation in some sense, whether it be economy, safety?
No, I'm not.
Tell me why.
This country was founded on solid principles that had to do with integrity, honesty, endurance, perseverance. And I believe what we have seen in the midst of all the trauma that we have gone through is that American spirit reemerging.
So, where is that spirit going to take us next? This young lady we talked to over here said war is coming. How do you feel about that?
That's a possibility. A man has the right to defend his home. And what America has done time and time again is to honor other countries in their effort to defend their home. So I believe, given the principles we were founded on, it would not surprise me.
Mm-hmm. To what sort of lengths, I want to bring this fellow in who helped organize this tournament, what lengths do we go to, does the U.S. go to?
I think that we take whatever is necessary, whatever action is necessary to retaliate if that means going to war.
Do you have any sense at all what that means at this point? Because this is obviously not a clear-cut case of we know who's out there.
No, we really don't. And I have 3 boys that are draft A's, so I have a pretty good sense of it. But I think that the country has a right to defend itself and defend its way of life. And if we need to do something, then we should do it.
And lastly, any second thoughts about canceling the games out here? You got 130 or 40 teams?
Yes, 139 teams from 7 states. No, we thought about it, but this was very important for the families and the kids to be together. We thought this was a great opportunity for them to be together, and we've taken some steps to certainly recognize the tragedy and have all of us share in that.
Good deal. Tim, appreciate the time. Thanks very much. As you can see, Aaron, as we said, for much of this country, life does go on, such as it is right now, but the events that surround you there are not very far from anyone's mind here on this soccer field, half a country away in Des Moines. Back to you.
Well, the truth is it would be almost overwhelmingly depressing if you think about it, if life was not getting back to normal. Part of what is comforting, I think, for those of us in New York is to know that around the country, while people send good wishes to the rescue workers and to the people here, life has not stopped. Life, in fact, does go on, must go on, and should go on. Have you noticed, you've been in Wisconsin, I think you were in Dubuque yesterday, Des Moines today. Has the mood changed over the course of these days?
Yeah, interesting you asked that, because I do get a sense of that, that, you know, we were almost in shock so much that there wasn't room for any other emotions. I didn't feel a lot of other emotion beyond shock. Today we're really starting to get the first sense of anger, of genuine anger out here, and it'll be interesting to track that and see where that goes nationally.
Well, the kids look great, and the soccer looks fun, and we appreciate your hard work this week. Thank you very much. Jeff Locke, who's been out of the bubble of that we all have been living in here in New York and in Washington. The rescue efforts go on. The funerals now have begun. This tragedy shifts to its next chapter, it feels like today. And we shift here for a little bit. We're going to go to Atlanta and a special edition of Talkback Live. So we're joined now by our colleague, Bobby Batista. Bobby, good afternoon.
Aaron, good afternoon to you. And this is a special Saturday edition of Talkback Live, America Speaks Out. We will be here for 2 hours today, and we hope that you will take this time to share your thoughts and your fears and your stories about this week's tragedy. By the way, among the folks in our studio audience today, a group of Atlanta firemen, policemen, and a group of international students as well. I'm going to go right to the audience. There are some deep and passionate feelings at work here. Walt, you are a veteran. Which war?
Yes, I am a veteran of World War II and Korea. I believe that when we enlisted or joined the military forces, we did so with the idea that our life would be placed upon the line. This tragedy, this profound insanity that has engulfed us in the last couple of days is aimed not at us, but at the people of this country, the men, the women, the children, the old, everybody but primarily military, except for the raid upon the Pentagon. I believe our government needs to stop its infighting and bickering among political parties. I believe they need to pay attention to the needs of the country and the people. And I believe that the country in itself must declare last Tuesday as the last day of complacency.
And Jeff, you are angry as well.
Yes, I am very angry. And I just finished reading the book, The Band of Brothers, which is now on HBO. And I think everybody should watch it. But I think we need a band together now as brothers and sisters of the United States, as not as Army people, but as Americans, and go forward. And also, Monday is going to be a very important day for us in the United States because of the stock market. And we must not respond irrationally. We must stop and think, and we must be able to do something. And maybe the money that we've gotten from the government, the $600, is everybody should take some of that and instead of selling, go out and buy maybe just one share of stock, whatever. And I think we need to keep our country together.
Good advice for go out and buy American. William's on the phone from Illinois. William, go ahead.
Yes, it's William from Illinois. I have one comment to make, and that I think some of the things that are happening here are a failure of our government to, during the Cold War, their policies, the countries that they supported, the regimes that they supported, I think it built up this animosity of the people that perpetrated this attack on our country. And I'm not condoning that. I'm just making that as a statement. But what I'm concerned about here is we're trying to build an alliance now where even the Russians are on our side. And I think that maybe they might have their own agenda, and we have to be careful there. But one thing to mention, being a Vietnam veteran and knowing what happened after we pulled out of Saigon during that war, there were a lot of our people there, our friends, that we just kind of left high and dry. And I think...
Oh, William, I think we just lost that call. We're trying to keep the comments as brief as we possibly can so we can get as many opinions and comments and questions in. I'm going to bring a couple of guests in at this point who can address some of your concerns and your questions. New York Congressman Jerrold Nadler is with us, as well as Thomas Reynolds. They were with President Bush yesterday as he surveyed the devastation at what used to be the World Trade Center. Also joining us is James Zogby, president of the Arab American Institute. Welcome to all of you, gentlemen. I know you've been listening to some of the comments that you've been hearing here in the last few minutes or so, and I'd like to get your reaction. I think most Americans, it seems to me, as I've been listening to them, Congressman Nadler, are getting they're tempering their anger, if you will, somewhat, and they're ready to support the president and the Congress in this the approach of using a little restraint and intelligence and having our response come on a more measured basis.
Well, I hope we always use intelligence in whatever we do, obviously. The goal is not vengeance. The United States was viciously attacked with large casualties. We don't know the extent yet. The first goal has to be to make sure that this is the end of it, to take on the terrorist organizations so they can't do it again. The first goal is protection in the future, and that probably means not just striking out in blind vengeance at a terrorist organization, but really with our allies, with other countries around the world, taking apart the terrorist networks. That's not going to be easy, and it doesn't mean carpet bombing Afghanistan or any place else, but it's going to be a long, hard struggle to take apart these organizations, destroy them, if you will, that have sworn and now shown that they mean it, to kill as many of our people as possible. We didn't seek this, but that's it. I was struck by one other thing that I haven't heard much comment on, and that is these people did not have any demands. They didn't demand that we change our policy in the Middle East or in the Persian Gulf or anywhere else. And that's essentially because it has nothing to do with that. They are opposed to us because we're the great Satan. We're the great Satan because we represent what is abhorrent to them, democracy and freedom and modernity. And that's a threat to them. They are opposed to us. They hate us because of who we are and what we are, not because of what we do. And so we have no choice but to carry out the struggle, hopefully in as restrained a manner as possible and in an intelligent manner as possible, but we have no choice.
Let me get to Nick on the phone in Pennsylvania first, and then Sarah. Nick, go ahead.
Bobby.
Yeah.
We've just watched a foreign entity use our own airplanes to destroy our own country and kill our own people. Something has to be done about this. These pilots trained at our universities, at our flight schools, and they knew who these 19 people were so quick after the fact. Why didn't they know who they were before the fact? They have to get tighter. They have to have restrictions on who comes in this country. They have to investigate these people more and more, over and over again. You can't let foreigners in here that have the idea of destroying this country, this great country which we all love.
Well, we can't assume that all foreigners are going to do that either. Sarah's about ready to jump out of her skin. She was born in Iran.
Yes, I'm Sarah. I was born in Iran. I moved here when I was 10 years old, and I've gotten all my education here, and I love this country. And what really upsets me is to see that these people benefit from the United States. They have dollars in their bank accounts, but yet they're willing to kill our people and terrorize against us. But one thing that's really important that I've really been thinking about these days is that through every crisis there's an opportunity, and the opportunity here that we must all embrace is that the countries are coming together and we're all unifying. The United States is unifying, and we need to stay together and we need to fight this together. That's the only way we can fight this tragic incident.
I want to bring James Zogby into this conversation. We also have with us in the audience a number of Arab Americans or Americans of Middle Eastern descent. And your comments on the backlash that could come as a result of all of this.
Well, Bobby, it's already come, and we're seeing it almost every day. My office got death threats. I personally did. Arab Americans all over the country and Muslims and their institutions have been paying a price in the last few days. The news reports are filled with them, and people are afraid. But I'll tell you that what has gratified me is the extraordinary support from the top down. The President, the Attorney General, and Secretary of State made strong statements. The Justice Department has launched a program to work with us nationally to stop these hate crimes and to send out directives to law enforcement on the question of profiling. At the same time, the U.S. Senate unanimously passed a resolution, and I know the House is considering one, decrying violations of civil rights and also violence or threats of violence, hate crimes against Arabs and Muslims. This is, as I think all of the folks in the audience have said, a time for America to come together and operate as one country. We cannot either bury our unity or bury our Constitution as we seek to unify our people to wipe out this scourge of terror. The person who said it was right. There were no political demands here. That's Congressman Nadler. This is not a political phenomena. This is a test of our will as a country to be unified and to build the broadest international and, I think, national